as soon as I did my first show, I was like, I've never felt like I was home, like ever. Like it was just like, this is where I'm supposed to be.
So was this something that you always planned on doing, or was this something that just kind of happened?
I never thought I would be a Las Vegas showgirl ever. When I grew up, I was playing sports. I danced when I was really little, but then I focused on basketball, volleyball, track, and bodybuilding, like in high school. So that's what I thought I was going to do my whole life, was going to be, a high school basketball coach. And uh, luckily, the universe had bigger plans for me. So my littlest sister still danced, and she did a competition out in Las Vegas. And I came out here, and my mom was like, "You should just kind of audition for a show since you're out here." And I was like, "Well, I haven't danced in a long time." And I went to an audition, completely embarrassed myself, didn't have anything right, but kind of caught the bug. And I was like, I'd like to try it. So I was like, I'm just going to move to Las Vegas for the summer, audition for a bunch of things. If I get it, great. If not, I'm going to go back to Grand Junction, Colorado and be a basketball coach. And luckily, I booked an audition. I think it was probably around my 10th audition that I finally figured out the whole system and booked a show. And I've been professionally dancing in Las Vegas ever since.
It took 10 auditions. Is that fast, slow, middle?
At the time I moved out, there was literally 2 or 3 auditions a day. Like Vegas was booming. And so it was pretty quick for me. I'm shorter in Las Vegas. I'm almost 5'7", which is shorter. So if they're looking for someone that's going to be 5'11", I'm never going to get it. I could keep going to the auditions, but I'm never going to grow an extra 4 inches. So
When we talk about a Las Vegas showgirl, like what does a Las Vegas showgirl do?
how I kind of consider it is anybody in a show, professional dancer. I know there's other clubs and different things that they kind of attach onto that, but these are professionally trained dancers. We've trained our whole lives. And then typically we have some kind of headdress and feathers, the glitter, the glitz, the glam, the what you would think of Las Vegas when you think of, all of the beautiful women. There's also girls that walk up and down the strip just taking pictures in showgirl costumes. And that's not the kind of showgirl that we're talking about.
I remember growing up and the showgirl was kind of like the symbol of Las Vegas. Is that still the case? Has that kind of changed?
I think Las Vegas has changed its branding throughout the years. So I don't know like what like the younger generations would see, but I still see the, beautiful Las Vegas showgirls. And I think if I was marketing for Las Vegas, I would bring back that classy, beautiful element because it's so iconic. It's so beautiful. So I think Las Vegas should step up their showgirl game.
What was that first show like for you?
The first show I did was at the Rio. It was called Show in the Sky, and I rode around on. They had like this huge track above the ceiling where they had these gorgeous floats that went around, and so you kind of danced on like as you float through the casino and dancing. We did like a choreographed number for like 12 minutes, and then we went around again and just threw beads to people, and I literally thought I'd won the lottery. It was the most fun. It was, family friendly. Everyone could come see it. My mom was, she came out and she saw it. We did 8 shows a day. So she would literally sit there. She'd come out for, 3 or 4 days and watch every single show for 8 hours. Just watch me go around in this float, just throw beads. I thought I'd won the jackpot. I was, coming from a farm in Colorado, I was like, this is the easiest, most fun job I've ever had. I'm not getting dirty. People want to take my picture. And I caught the bug and I was like, I don't see myself ever doing anything else than this because it's so fun.
How did you transition to working at Fantasy?
Fantasy was always, in my mind. It was on the billboards, and it took me a couple years being in Las Vegas to decide if I wanted to go topless. Because when I first moved here, I was like deathly shy. I'm like, I'm never doing a topless show. It's just, I don't judge anybody, but I'm just not comfortable doing that. And as the couple years went by, and I was just like, they're so beautiful and classy. You just, you forget that the girls are topless instantly because they're just so talented. And I was like, I think I'm ready to to do a topless show. So I submitted my stuff. They invited me to audition, and luckily I booked it. And uh, I've been there. I don't want to age myself. Don't do the math, but 16 years now.
That's got to be a long time for people to be doing it, right? Like I would imagine people come and go a lot quicker.
Our producer takes such good care of us. I think there was a girl that was in the original Fantasy, and she retired the January of 2020. I think she'd been in the show 15 years. Um, Working. We just celebrated our 25th anniversary at Fantasy. So she had been in the show 15 years. And I think now officially I'm the longest cast member that's ever worked in the show.
Could you be potentially the longest running showgirl in all of Vegas?
Potentially.
I can't say for certain, but I don't know anybody who's been doing it longer.
Yeah, I've been well since I was 18, and I
We don't have to date it. We don't have to date it. We can skip. People can do math if they want.
very long, successful career.
Hey, if you still got it,
Yeah, yeah.
flaunt it. If
I'm
that
very
makes any sense.
Yes, I'm.
That came out like in a certain way I didn't necessarily mean, but so, and then to transition into even continuing on that path, were you conflicted about doing the topless part?
I don't think I was personally conflicted because I was like, I want to do it, but I was like, what are people going to think? What is this going to be like if I, run for president? Are they going to dig this up and it's going to be a terrible, shameful thing? And I think as the world has changed in life in general, like everything's just more accepted. And as soon as I did my first show, I was like, I've never felt like I was home, like ever. Like it was just like, this is where I'm supposed to be. It was just, I was so comfortable. And literally there's so many quick changes in choreography. Like you forget that, you trained ballet, you're wearing little leotards anyways. It's not like, we're used to it. I literally, it didn't even acknowledge that I didn't have a top on.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Like you're probably just in the grand scheme of things removing another inch of clothing.
Yeah.
Like you're just kind of showing the whole thing as opposed to 95% of the thing.
For me, I was like, I love it.
Do some girls struggle with it, or is it more just like, whatever?
I guess I've seen some girls struggle with it, but I think once you're to like the caliber of like Fantasy and you know what the show is, you're ready to audition, you're already comfortable, and you're not going to audition for something that you just morally not right for. I have seen many girls, not many, a couple girls in my life, be really happy, be really comfortable, get a new boyfriend. The boyfriend's uncomfortable, and so now all of a sudden they're either quitting or they're not doing it. They're trying to cover themselves. And I'm just like, for me, I feel it's really sad. Like they should be supporting you, but we have had that element.
Yeah, there's a big difference between, I think, how someone feels about it personally versus how society feels about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care, but society feels this way, and that makes me feel this way. I think there's a difference.
Yeah.
Is being a showgirl, would you describe it as an inherently sexual thing?
I think just by the nature, yes, it's very sexy. I mean, I think for the general public, anything topless is still a little taboo, just very like, naughty, sexy. But I think sometimes people's like preconceived notions in their head are way worse than like actually coming. I used to tell people, just come see me in Fantasy. Oh, I don't know your topless. I'm like, just please, whatever you have in your head is probably a million times worse than what it actually is. Like this is, it is sexy, but also it's talent. It is class.
It's not that, if that makes any sense. I know that's kind of a nebulous way of phrasing it, but like it's not that.
Yes.
Like how popular are showgirls now in Vegas?
There are definitely less shows than there used to be. Like I remember when I moved to Vegas, every single casino had some kind of dancing show. It was either, Siegfried and Roy or just so many shows. And I feel like now there's very few. I think maybe there's maybe 4 or 5 showgirl shows. I know they opened up a couple more recently, which I think is amazing. Um, but yeah, Vegas kind of moved to the DJ world and the nightclubs and the restaurants more than the showgirl. So I I hope the Las Vegas Showgirl comes back.
Does it feel like a cyclical thing? Do you feel like this is going to come back, it's just going to come back around, or do you feel like this is a time that may have passed?
I don't think so. I think there's always going to be a place for the Las Vegas Showgirl. I don't think the Las Vegas Showgirl, well, knock on wood, will ever die. I think it's just such a specific need that I will make it my duty to make sure that the Las Vegas Showgirl doesn't die.
When it comes to selecting showgirls, how does that process kind of work? Like, what are producers like yourself, like, what are you looking for?
Every show's a little bit different. Like the Rockettes are looking for something very specific. They want the exact height, everybody to be perfect. Fantasy, we are kind of the modern take on the Las Vegas Showgirl. So we are, as the show is called Fantasy, looking for a little bit something different in each girl. So we kind of offer something for everybody. We've got, super tall girls, blondes, brunettes. But overall, it's the dancing's number one. Dancing, you have to be able to dance, know the steps, be able to be clean. The next element is the look. You have to be, for fantasy, very beautiful, in shape. And the third would be kind of your reputation in town or just how kind you are. We start watching girls when they walk in, how they treat everybody around. If they are, do they hold the door for this person? Are they in line just like, I'm ready to, if you can already tell they're sassy and not nice, it's like, you're not gonna, or you have a really bad reputation in town. Like everybody, you're mean, or you threw shoes on stage at a girl because they messed up a note. Vegas is very small. We all hear about these things.
So of like, okay, of 100 people who try out, like how many would you say generally make it?
Two.
That competitive.
Yeah. Yeah. And usually there's always one girl that just kind of steals the show. It's like, hands down, all of us, we have a little panel of, 3 or 4 women that are, picking who's going to be in our cast. And historically, one girl has just stole the show. It's like everybody's on the same page. Like, nope, it's her. Yep, she's the one. We usually put maybe two extra girls into rehearsal to see if they'll, pick up our style or see, or we really like them, but we've heard bad things. Like, are they going to be nice? Are they going to be able to, is it just a rumor that we heard that maybe that, they're not a person we want to spend 6 nights a week with?
Yeah, at some point you got to work with these people. Like it's still a job.
Yeah.
When you start off, like how much practice slash rehearsal goes into the show before you kind of like you got it nailed down?
Our show moves pretty quick. You are in a studio for about 4 or 5 days. You learn about 10 different numbers. Then you take a day on stage with the dance captain, kind of looking at the blocking and everything. Then we bring in the cast to do like a dress run, and then we put you in.
Oh, that's just like right to it then, huh?
And usually our producer, Anita, comes to watch the show pretty much on the girls' first or second day in the show, and she can tell right away if they're going to make it. If they have, obviously people make mistakes. This is, we're not looking for perfection on your first day, but the performance, and if you mesh with all the girls. I mean, we've had fabulous dancers that I was like, this is going to be the new star of fantasy. And when you put them in a line next to our girls performing full out, they don't work.
You can tell right away though when somebody like, oh, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Are you ready for some harder slash listener submitted questions?
Yes.
Favorite part of the show?
Favorite part of the show is seeing the audience. I could be having the worst day, and if I just go out there and someone's smiling in the front row or anywhere and just clapping, it changes everything. It's and the audience is different every single night. I love being able to see the audience.
I would imagine does it get in people's blood? Like, is it a hard thing to leave once you kind of get the thrill of it?
Yes, there's nothing like performing. That's why I literally didn't think I was going to be doing this long. And yeah, there's nothing like it. After the show, we have our calendars, we sign autographs. People rush up and want that. And I'm like, where else in life do people, like, not at the grocery store? And people, like, we're kind of little mini celebrities after each show, and nowhere in life that I've experienced so far I can replicate that feeling anywhere.
Are there show dudes?
There are, not currently in our show, but I have done lots of shows with male dancers, show boys.
Is that what they are, show boys? No.
That's what I call them. I don't know if they call themselves that.
But then will they do it bottomless?
Oh, ooh, that's an idea for a show.
That's not the same thing. Like, I don't think that anybody really wants to look at that.
I think it'd be a different market. maybe a different, like, maybe really successful in like San Francisco or somewhere, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm sure it's legal, right?
I would think so.
Show Puppetry of the Penis, which I haven't seen yet.
Wait, what? There's a show called Puppetry of the Penis?
Yeah. I had some girlfriends go for a bachelorette party, and the boys are bottomless.
Just that thing flopping around out there?
I think so. And then they do some like tricks and like bend it and like I actually need to add that to my list. I'll go see it and get back to you.
Let me know, or don't, or let me know, or don't. I'm slightly curious to like what tricks are they doing?
Me too. I don't. And there's some terms where they like fold it inside out. I don't know. I have to. Now I'm gonna blush.
Let's move on. let's just skip this whole part and just. I mean, whatever you want to do it. I just imagining myself like just flopping around out there, like whatever.
It takes a lot of courage.
It takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of courage to do things like that.
Yeah.
Ooh. What is the best movie / documentary / media depiction of showgirls?
Oh, well, I have a love-hate relationship with the movie Showgirls.
I would imagine.
That's typical. And thank God it's not as catty and pushing girls down the stairs to take their spots and throwing rhinestones and things. That's kind of a cult classic. That's it. They tried, but then they went to a darker element from it. I'm really excited to see the new documentary, The Last Showgirl with Pamela Anderson. I think it comes out in a couple weeks. I know a lot of Vegas dancers that are in that movie as well. And from what I haven't seen it yet, but from what I've heard, it's fabulous. So I'm thinking that's going to be the best depiction of showgirls. Otherwise, there's lots of movies that are not so kind to us.
What do you think is kind of the misconception about it?
I think, well, like the movies like Casino and the old school movies, and it might have been different back in the day, that we were, kind of a glorified prostitutes for the casino. I know, like, back in the day, like a million years ago, Las Vegas Showgirls would do their show, and then they would have to go sit at the bar and be nice to the gentlemen that are there, or whatever, high rollers. And thankfully, that element has changed. It's, we're literally professionals, not that kind of professional dancers. We go and, do our job. We perform on stage, and we do meet and greets, and then that's it. There's no, conceived notions of things that we're supposed to do or entertain. And then, like strippers too kind of stole the Las Vegas title and name. And so I think sometimes for the common public, it can get confusing. Even when I moved out to Vegas, I was like, I'm going to be a dancer. They're like, oh, can you do a dance for me right now? Like, I'll tip you. And I'm like, I'm not that kind of dancer.
Not that kind of dancer.
Thing against them, but that's not what I do.
Will you get people though that from that type of dancing come into this type of dancing? Does it go back and forth, or like, no, these are totally different things?
Totally different. We've had some girls audition that I'm sure are very successful in the club scene, and it's completely different. The choreographed dance, and some of our numbers are 5-6 minutes long. Every single one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is choreographed, and if you're not trained like that, it's very, very hard to keep up.
What do you think the future holds? What do you think happens?
I think the future of showgirls is bright. There's always, new young hungry choreographers coming up, new shows, new casinos opening. I think new documentaries, new series that highlight showgirls are just going to add more of that allure back to our industry, and I think the Las Vegas Showgirl will never die.
That's all the questions I got. If people want to kind of find out more about the show, find out more about you, where can they find you, that kind of stuff.
I'm at Fantasy at the Luxor Hotel and Casino. The show runs 7 nights a week. I'm there 6 nights a week at 10:30 every single night, and we've added a bunch of 8 p.m. shows as well. So it's not hard to find me. And then on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok,